So, interesting quote coming out from Max Verstappen. He said this on the eve of the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend after Yuki Tsunoda qualified dead last. He did not have a good weekend, did Tsunoda, unfortunately. He really does struggle to get on top of the car, particularly in qualifying. His race pace at times has actually been pretty decent, if we're being honest. He managed to go from, the pit lane to P10 in Imola, a track where it's not the easiest to overtake around. But Max Verstappen came out with an interesting quote. He just basically said quite literally that Tsunoda is not a pancake, which when I saw that quote, I'm like, Max, what are you what are you talking about? He's not a pancake, all right? He's a human being, okay? Like, what a strange thing to say about the guy. I think I get the sentiment, but let's just read the full thing here on the F1chronicle.com, guys. I'm sure this will probably be a funny one. Full article on here as always. Max Verstappen has jumped to the defense of his latest teammate Yuki Tsunoda, pointing the finger more in Red Bull's direction. When the team concluded that the gap between Verstappen and Sergio Perez was too big and sustained last year, Red Bull promoted Liam Lawson to the seat for 2025. However, we all know how that worked out. He was dropped after just 2 races, and now, in his 7th weekend in the navy blue overalls, Yuki Tsunoda is dead last on the Barcelona grid. On Friday, Tsunoda was quite close to Max, said the team advisor, Dr. Helmut Marko. Last place certainly has to be questioned, even if Yuki isn't driving the latest specification of car. The floor is different to Max's, and some of the other parts are different too, but he crashed himself out in Imola. We are not in the easiest situation with spare parts, but it seems that in qualifying Yuki can't improve, the Austrian noted. His results are disappointing. We'll have to analyse everything, he said. Something that Red Bull is consistently making the same mistake with the occupant of the seat next to Verstappen, installing a driver that is to be a clear number 2. Of course, I spoke to Red Bull, Carlos Sainz admitted to the El Cafelito programme ahead of the Barcelona race weekend, referring to his talks last year before signing with Williams. Of course, Sainz is a former Red Bull junior driver coming through the academy and making his Formula 1 debut for Toro Rosso in 2015, the same time that a certain Max Verstappen also made his debut for the second Red Bull team. They didn't want me for whatever reason. We didn't come to an agreement, the former Ferrari driver added. He clearly implied that Red Bull memorialises the number 2 provisions in black and white. I don't discuss contractual matters with anyone, Sainz insists. I think anyone who knows anything about Formula 1 understands why Red Bull didn't want me. Probably because they wanted him to play second fiddle to Max, which I think pretty much any driver in that second seat would have to do because Verstappen's so quick. But being told that is not good. As for Verstappen, though, he believes the struggles faced by Perez, Lawson and now Tsunoda in the past year are more of a result of a car problem rather than a driver problem. He's not a pancake, is he? The Dutchman told The Telegraph when asked about Tsunoda's struggles. He's proven that in the past. He was often faster than Lawson, right? So this is probably saying a lot about the car. What does it say? You can fill that in for yourselves. Verstappen, of course, doing his best to make everybody reading that article or indeed watching this video very hungry like myself. I do fancy a good pancake now he has said that. But yeah, I get what he's saying. He's not a pancake. He's not an idiot. He's not a slow driver. He's clearly a very quick driver, but he is someone who does struggle in that car like anybody would do. I think in qualifying in particular, where the margins are so tight this year. You think about how tight the margins are this year. Like if Perez was still in that car, he'd be qualifying at the back as well, I think. I really do think that because the margins last year were not quite as tight. They're a lot tighter this year. So if you're 1.5 seconds off of your teammate, which Tsunoda probably is in qualifying, probably half a second off in the race, something like that, which is kind of what you would expect. But the qualifying pace being so difficult, 1.5 seconds, you're at the back of the grid, you're last. That is the difference between pole position and last in Q1 in qualifying, P1 and P20. So I get what he's saying. Changing drivers is not going to help things. Although, of course, as we covered very recently here on the channel, they might have to temporarily change one of the drivers soon. Verstappen is 1 penalty point away on his FIA super license from getting a race ban. So that means that Hadjar might get a little audition in the Red Bull. I doubt it'll happen. I would like to think that Max will keep his cool for all of 2 races until those penalty points are rescinded, or 2 of them are rescinded, I should say. But we might well get a little cameo from Hadjar at some point this month. And we'll bring you any kind of updates to this on the channel, guys. As always, have a great day wherever you're in the world today, and we'll see you very soon for much more content on the world of F1, just like this.